Have you ever had a strange coincidence happen where you had to stop and ask yourself, wait, is the universe trying to tell me something? Hello, friends and fellow passengers on this wild ride we call life. I hope you are well. Stick around until the end. I want to show you a magic trick. The term synchronicity was coined by Carl Jung. A synchronicity could be defined as coincidences that occur with no apparent causal connection, yet seem to be connected by meaning. I want to share a few stories with you about my experiences with synchronicity. Initially, I wasn't aware of the idea of synchronicities and thought nothing about coincidences. One night, my ex was watching the movie Premonition, which is a story about a woman who has visions of her husband being in a car accident. Meanwhile, I was chatting with a friend of mine online who was telling me all about all these bizarre coincidences he was having in his life. At first he thought he was losing his mind. At first he thought he was losing his mind with all these bizarre coincidences that were going on. Unbelievable stories. And then without me saying a thing about the movie that was playing in the other room, he told me about the story where a psychic friend of his told him that his daughter was going to be in a car accident, and soon after that got my attention. Then came the moment that changed everything. I was telling him how I used to listen to Jimi Hendrix a lot, and it had been probably like a decade since I'd really listened to Jimmy. And then he says, "Matt, you're not going to believe this. My son's in the other room watching TV, and The Wind Cries Mary just came on." I was stunned, confused, amazed. That one conversation, his stories, our coincidences, it triggered my awareness of synchronicities. It was like the universe was winking at me. Story number 2. After that night, I couldn't stop noticing them. Synchronicities were appearing everywhere. It was almost like just witnessing them triggered more of them to happen. One evening I was doing a deep dive into lucid dreaming, and the next day I went to work and I noticed a coworker on his screen in bold letters, lucid dreaming. And I said, "What are you reading?" I was literally looking this topic up last night. That moment sparked a friendship that's been ongoing for almost 20 years. And then we discovered we'd both been researching the same obscure things like Syd Barrett era Pink Floyd. Then we both started seeing synchronicities everywhere. Lots of number patterns like 1111 or 232 or 444 on clocks, license plates, and other signs. After a while, it became clear to us there are no coincidences. Story number 3. Fast forward a couple years, my first marriage ended, and I was putting out the intention in the world to find my soulmate. Even as a kid, I always felt like someone important was missing in my life. And then I met Terry. From the start, the synchronicities were intriguing. My back room used to have a picture framing business, and then I found out that Terry's mom used to have a picture framing business. Then I noticed something small but strange. My bathroom had 4 lights above the mirror, and the second light was burnt out. When I first went over to Terry's, I noticed that she too had 4 lights above her bathroom mirror, and light number 2 was burnt out. Moments like that kept happening. It felt like the universe was nodding in approval, whispering, "You're on the right path." Over time, I noticed a pattern. Synchronicities show up when I'm stepping into something new, a relationship, a project, or a turning point. Almost like a gentle guide saying, "Keep going." Here's an interesting side note. As I was writing this content, I looked down at the clock and noticed it was 11:11. It's almost like thinking or talking about synchronicity triggers them to happen more often. So what are synchronicities? Are they just random coincidences with no meaning? Or are they something from beyond the veil? Now that you've stayed to the end, here's the magic trick I promised. I'm predicting that you'll experience a synchronicity connected with this video in the near future. Maybe it's already happened while you were watching this video. If it does, come back here and tell me in the comments. I want to know what you experienced. Also, please share with me your thoughts on what synchronicity really is. A cosmic alignment? Or is it just a trick of perception? Until next time, stay well, fellow passengers.